Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello there, and welcome to all my listeners. Today we are going to talk about a very hot topic in numerology, and that is no other than compatibility and how that is reflected in your numbers. But before anything else, if you're new here, welcome to my podcast. In this podcast, we discuss numerology as a path for inner transformation, spiritual growth, and self-understanding. I attempt to make numerology accessible and applicable for everyday matters and do my best to provide you with grounded information so that you can apply numerology in order to make your life better, more conscious, more balanced, and aligned with your soul and your true purpose. Now, here are a few ways you can dive deeper into numerology. First and foremost, you can book a numerology reading with me. In a reading, you can ask any question that is burning in your life and get precise answers. You can read more about the types of readings I offer and contact me through my website. The link is provided in the episode description. Now, if you wish to study numerology on a deeper level or even pursue it as a career, I'm inviting you to check out my numerology study paths. First of all, check out my self-study numerology course, where you can learn the fundamentals of numerology at your own pace and in a comprehensive way. You can do so on your mobile device, on your tablet, and on your laptop. Now, if you want to go deeper, you can sign up to my complete path of certification from beginner to numerology expert and get certified as a professional numerologist. Now, to read more about both study paths, check out the links in the episode description. So, compatibility, a big topic. Now, there are only a few major topics that people bring up in numerology readings. After all, human life on some level is very simple. We are all so much more alike than we think or imagine or like to think. In this episode, we will explore none other than this huge, beautiful topic of compatibility in romantic relationships through the lens of numerology. But as you know me, that is, if you already know me, I'm not a conventional man, and I'm not a conventional numerologist. And numerology, for me, is part of a greater whole, of a greater truth that I call Dharma. But you can call it God, love, or simply the greater reality. Many people ask me the most understandable question of compatibility, many clients. Now, for example, I met a new guy and he's a 3 life path. Do you think that he's a fit? Do you think we're compatible given that I'm a 4 life path? Or I met this amazing woman and we have a really great connection, but she's a life path 4 and I have a 9. Do you think that this will work? Now, I never dish out cookbook answers or oversimplify things just in order to either gratify people's ego or fanciful imagination, nor in order to benefit my pocket with some extra bucks for an answer that is less than truthful, honest, and real. So, what I'm about to share with you might be surprising to some of you, possibly disappointing to those who want quick fixes, but hopefully for most of you, it will be mind opening and an opportunity to grow and expand in real wisdom. I actually want to start with a very practical advice pertaining to your numerology chart and that of the person you are inquiring about or will inquire about. Both of you have what I call the sacred triad, namely the life path, the expression, and soul urge numbers. These are your three most influential core numbers and the ones that show who you are and what's most important to you. Now, if you want to learn more about these three numbers, there's an episode about the three most important numbers or the three numbers that you should know about any person and about yourself. Check it out. So, as a foundational practice, I always recommend that my numerology students examine the three core numbers of any person if they want to truly get a solid grasp on who they are. And naturally, that's also true about you. So, for starters, I recommend you take a good look at your three core numbers and those of your potential new partner and understand them thoroughly, understand them well. Get to know your date, your love, or new romantic partner through their numbers. But here's the catch: don't judge nor reach any definite conclusions. Very often, I see people rushing to quick conclusions like, oh, he's a 3 and I'm a 7, so surely this isn't going to work. No, that's a mistake, my friends. On what basis are you saying such a thing? Are relationships that black and white? Is love so cheap and simplistic? So, as a first step, simply get to know the inner world of your potential partner or existing one for that matter. Now, here's another funny mistake that people tend to make. They only compare life path numbers as if we are all composed of only one core number. And this cannot be farther away from the truth. So the guy you met is a 3 life path and you a 7. But surprisingly, he's a 7 soul urge and you a 3. Boom. Isn't that interesting? Not to mention that both of you have, I don't know, the same expression number 5. Wow, now suddenly things have completely changed. The picture became far more real and rich as it is in real life. So if you want any love relationship to work and not to be another passing episode, you must treat it in the manner it deserves, with true interest and depth. It's easy to pass a quick judgment and to give up before you even tried, and it's much harder to take your time to actually explore the fullness of another person and yourself, by the way. Yet, the latter option is far more mature and gives you far better chances to succeed in any love relationship. Now things get a bit more interesting. You know the saying, opposites attract? Well, here's my version of this saying: opposites can attract or dispel. But Tom, you need to give us a definite cookbook answer. Sorry, guys, not in my neck of the woods. Let's take the example of 3 and 7 from before. Number 7 is the deepest number of all. Cares about meaning, wisdom, and truth. It looks beyond the surface and wants to get to the root of things. It is also more suspicious and emotionally heavy. On the other side, you have number 3, who is very light, easygoing, joyful, knows how to enjoy the moment, naturally trusting, and seeing the good in people, and enjoys seeing things the way they are and not assume anything deeper, not add any unnecessary layers. Now, on the face of it, these numbers cannot be farther apart from one another. And indeed, if we look at it from the perspective or the prism of opposites can dispel, then indeed they can get on each other's nerves. The 7 can experience 3 as extremely shallow, childish, and even stupid, while the 3 can experience the 7 as a killjoy, a burdensome presence, and someone who always overcomplicates things. However, from the perspective of opposites attract or opposites can attract, they may find each other very attractive and complementary. The other may feel like a world they long for so deeply, and also something so wonderful and other than what they are is just right there. The 3 may absolutely love the depth and wisdom of the 7 and drink it with curiosity and delight. It may truly feel like the 7 helps it see things straight and understand their path much better, while the 7 might feel healed by the lightness and joy of the 3. For the first time in ages, experiencing life as something sweet and playful and not heavy and filled with anxiety. The 3 can teach the 7 enjoyment, a lightness, and trust. Now, how awesome is that? Now, the question probably comes up. Now, how do you determine whether, in your case, you will attract or dispel each other? So don't worry, I will get there later in this episode. Now, let's talk about another unique form of number attraction or attraction between numbers. But before I say anything further, if you are enjoying this podcast and you want to keep learning more grounded, applicable, in-depth numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from and become part of my numerology community. Also, make sure to check out the comment section and leave a comment on an episode you liked. Share your thoughts and ask me questions. It's an opportunity to exchange and interact. And I will always attempt to answer as many questions and comments as I possibly can. So, coming back to our topic, there's another famous saying which goes like this: like attracts like. You've probably heard it before. Now, maybe you already guessed my version. Here we go. It is like can attract or dispel like. Isn't it kind of cute that all my explanations are drenched with my very dominant 7 energy? It's funny just looking at it from the side. I wonder how a numerologist, for example, with a dominant 3, would explain this topic. Super curious. Anyhow, so now we are going to examine 2 similar or identical numbers and how they can attract or dispel each other. So let's say you meet a man and he's a life path 2, and you are a 2 as well. Now, again, for the sake of the example, I'm simplifying matters and I'm not referring to all the sacred triad of both of you guys, right? Just one number for the sake of it. Now, how awesome is that? I mean, you're a 2, he's a 2, you both share exactly the same energy. There can be no better understanding than this. And I really mean it from the perspective of you know, like attracts like. Both of you are deeply sensitive and caring people. You're gentle, you're compassionate, you're both considerate and kind, you're both really good listeners. This can truly be, a match made in heaven. Everything flows seamlessly. Before the other even utters something, you already know what they are about to say and what they need. Your emotional needs are similar, and so on. So, indeed, that's a very, viable option. But when you examine it from the perspective of, like can dispel like, things can look very different. As a two, as a number two, you have so much gentleness and caution ingrained in you. Now, do you really want more of the same? Perhaps just seeing another you, quote unquote, who is fearful and hesitant, who tends to be unsure of their way, and who lacks confidence is not very appealing after all. Maybe you actually wish for something a bit different. Maybe you don't need more kindness and consideration, but more vigor and courage. Sometimes, being too much in agreement about everything can be numbing and, lacking the necessary energy for growth and evolution and stepping out of one's comfort zone. And in general, when you think of too much of anything, people say, I don't know, parsley is healthy, cucumber is healthy, I don't know what. But just eat too much of anything, it just becomes unhealthy, right? So too much of any energy can sort of tilt the scales into an imbalanced place. So that's really another viable perspective. Now again, I'm not giving you a simple answer, but trying to anchor you in reality and not in a dream. But now, after having said all of that, let's start exploring the real recipe, so to speak, to compatibility. So, the wisest thing to do from a numerological standpoint, a numerological perspective, is to explore yours and your partner's three core numbers from both sides, meaning light and shadow. You want to get to know the potential for attraction and also where the potential pitfalls lie between the both of you. You want to know where you can benefit each other and in what ways you can get on each other's nerves, where you clash. You want to do that because that gives you far more freedom and the ability to make informed choices within the relationship. When you really feel a connection to someone, you don't just throw it all away because of a potential shadow between the numbers. That's really childish. Instead, you focus on the potential support and gifts you can give each other and attempt to avoid or mitigate the clash of shadows. So, if you are, for example, a 4 and he is a 5, ideally, each of you would get to know the other's light and shadow. You will know that he is a 5. And as a 5, he will bring more joy, more adventure, and spontaneity into the relationship. And he will know that you will bring more stability, more ground, more reliability into the relationship. You will give him safety and roots, while he will give you adventure and excitement. This is wonderful. This is such a gift to know that. But at the same time, you will also know that he can tend to cross your boundaries or lack commitment in certain areas of life, while he will know that you may be too strict at times and reluctant to change and try new things. Yet, if you feel a strong connection and pull to one another, Nothing should stop you from feeding the positive potential of this unique connection and doing your best to avoid and mitigate the places where you clash. This is what I call using numerology in a conscious way, using it as a real co creator of your life and relationships, and not just like someone who reacts helplessly and or lazily to circumstances without any true effort of their own free will and intelligence. And this, my dear friends, leads me to the last and most important point I'm going to make in this episode. Love is bigger than the numbers. Love is bigger than numerology. And if love wants to succeed, it can succeed under all and any circumstances and with any number that it wishes. In fact, love is what chooses you for another and another for you. On the surface, you may think that you are the doer of it, but that is not so. Love itself is the one making the big choices of your life. And when I use the word love here, I'm using it in the deepest way, as in Dharma, as in God, as in the greater reality. And that's why I always say to my numerology students or people I mentor spiritually that if there is true love between two people, nothing can stop them from making it work. And who am I to tell them a stupid sentence like, oh, but she's a 7 and you're a 3. So this is not going to work. Who am I to say this? Or who, for the matter, is anyone to say such a statement? This is so unfair and inattentive to what's actually happening between them. That's simply attaching simplistic answers and possibly, superstition to something that is real and true and alive. In my opinion, it is simply unfair to do that. And also untrue, you know, downright untrue. So, what I do with my clients is tell them all the potentials of the relationship and the potential traps and places where they may clash. And I empower them to make an informed, conscious, and mature choice about navigating their newfound love or existing love for that matter. Everything I speak about here, you know, can be used also for long-term existing relationships. And that's exactly what this entire episode is about. And what I want you to do with your numbers. Study them well. Study the numbers of your partner well. And be a mature co-creator of your destiny. Learn to appreciate the gift and the potential of any number that comes your way and make the best of it. Also learn how to mitigate and avoid the pitfalls of any number, including your own. That is how you develop real self-mastery, which in turn leads to great and successful love relationships. Never be afraid to put in the work and always remember that love comes first. Only then the numbers. My dear ones, I really hope this inspired you and broadened your perspective of the whole meaning of compatibility and how one can use numerology in a way that empowers you to work through any kind of relationship and make it truly work. And before I wrap this up, if you have enjoyed this podcast and you want to keep learning applicable, high quality numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from and become part of my numerology community. And also remember to check out the comment sections Leave a comment, leave a question, share your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you, and I will attempt to answer every question and every comment. And of course, don't forget to check out my professional numerology readings, a great way to get your know yourself. And of course, if you want to become a numerologist yourself, check out my self-study numerology course and my in-depth numerology certification studies. All the links are provided in the episode description. My friends, as always, take good care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next episodes. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.